Picture the dawn of a day that literally changed human history. Welcome to this explainer, where we're going to step right into a deeply profound emotional journey. We're looking at the exact moment Jesus calls his very first disciples, straight from the account in Matthew chapter 4. I want you to really immerse yourself in this. Picture a quiet, ancient shoreline, where a completely ordinary morning is about to give way to a totally extraordinary calling. The morning sun rose over the peaceful Sea of Galilee. Just try to put yourself there for a second. You can almost feel the cool morning air, right? The fishermen are out there working quietly. You hear that rhythmic splashing of water as they cast their heavy nets, wrapping up a long, seriously exhausting night of labor. It's that kind of quiet, repetitive work that usually just defines a person's entire lifetime. And right here is where we meet Simon Peter and his brother Andrew. Now, these guys had spent countless hours out on these waters. This was their livelihood, their day-in, day-out reality. They were out there casting their nets, just like they'd done 1,000 times before. They honestly had absolutely no idea that this totally ordinary day was about to flip their lives completely upside down. Section 1. Leaving the nets behind. An unexpected calling. So into this quiet, everyday, kind of mundane scene, Jesus steps in. He's observing these two brothers with this deep compassion and honestly, a very deliberate purpose. Think about how wild this contrast is. On one hand, you've got ordinary men with ordinary lives, totally locked into the daily grind of survival and routine. But on the other hand, God had prepared something absolutely extraordinary for them. It's just this brilliant juxtaposition, the everyday reality of their fishing boats versus a massive, world-changing purpose. And then we get the catalyst. Jesus extends an invitation, and he does it without a single second of hesitation. The call is so simple, but it is absolute. Follow him. Now, this wasn't just, a casual request to go take a walk down the beach. No, this was an invitation to leave their fishing nets behind for good and kick off a vast mission, a mission designed to eventually reach the entire world. Let's just pause for a second. Let the sheer gravity of that immediate choice really sink in. Trusting his words, Peter and Andrew stepped away. They immediately leave their boats. They leave their nets. They literally walk away from the only life they have ever known, stepping right into the unknown. Just incredible. Moving on to section 2, James and John follow, a second calling. Because, the story definitely doesn't stop with Peter and Andrew. Jesus keeps moving, walking steadily farther down that exact same beach to find his next disciples. Tracking the timeline of that morning, you can see how the story builds. From that first dawn encounter, he walks a little farther along the shoreline and spots James and John. They're busy repairing their nets right beside their father, Zebedee, and this sets the stage for a second monumental encounter. Just like the brothers before them, James and John receive that exact same life-changing invitation. And man, they bravely choose to just drop everything. Leaving their nets, leaving their boat, and yes, even leaving their father behind. They follow Jesus without fear. Bringing us to section 3, the invitation continues today, a call for today. We're going to pivot now from those ancient historical shores of Galilee to look at the massive global ripple effect created by these 4 completely ordinary fishermen. So what made them different? Well, these men exhibited 3 core attributes: faith, obedience, and courage. By stepping out of those boats, these first disciples laid the foundation for a message that would literally transform millions of lives across generations. This ancient historical event echoes right into our present day, because the call of Jesus remains exactly the same. He invites every heart around the world to follow him with faith, hope, and love. Just as he changed the lives of those exhausted fishermen on the shoreline, he continues to change lives today. Which brings us to our final thought. Looking back at the historic text of Matthew 4:18-22, we see men who dropped their entire livelihoods for an extraordinary calling. So I want to leave you with this question to really reflect on. What nets are you willing to leave behind? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I truly hope the cinematic story stays with you long after we're done here.